Om Shanti. Wonderful. Look at all these beautiful faces. So I know many of you, but not all. I'm Judy from Canada and have been part of the Peace of Mind organizing team for the last 8 or 9 years, I think. And this is something we've wanted to do for a long time. We've wanted to keep the Peace of Mind community kind of together, given that we're such a large community worldwide now after 28 years, 150 plus beautiful souls from around the world coming together in Madhuban every year for 28 years. There's a lot of us who have been to Peace of Mind. And we just thought it's a really nice thing to pull people together because it's a community that's quite unique. The experience that we have in Madhuban, in Peace of Mind, for many is life altering. For many, when we hold little alumni get togethers here in Halifax, somebody starts talking about a memorable experience in Madhuban and we're all there. We're all there, whether it was 10 years ago or 5 years ago, we're all there. So there's something about the experience that is quite unique. And so, what we wanted to do, and we will do more of this is an experiment. We wanted to offer to that broader community an online community space where we could get the wisdom from some of these beautiful souls who have been very long time in the Raj Yoga practice, offering a bit of their wisdom, and maybe you'll feel like, oh yes, I'm back in Madhuban. That feeling will come back. So keeping that alive, because keeping alive in the soul, the good energy we gathered in Madhuban, is actually quite needed now, I feel, in the world. So we'd really like to offer this online community to you. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning in Australia. And Charlie just finished his talk there. And we let him go to bed. And we've asked Manda. So we're tag teaming the world. One half of the time zones, Charlie has been able to meet with everybody, and this half of the time zones will have Manda. So before I introduce Manda, who many of you, maybe all of you know, and probably the reason why you're here today is to hear our beautiful Manda speak. But before we do that, just a quick hands up. Who here has been to Madhuban, to the Peace of Mind retreat within the last 5 years? Hands up. Okay, and put your your virtual hand up if you can. Okay, how many of you have been there 10 years or more ago? Lovely. Okay, so we've got a good span here. Jane was there last year. Hi, Jane. Welcome. Okay. And part of the organizing team, hands up. Anybody who's been part of the organizing team, so we can see those souls. And Karen also is very involved in hosting this. Thank you. So I'd like to let you know, Ilya's going to put maybe in the chat box or maybe on the screen. I'm not sure which. Maybe on the chat box. Ilya, who's supporting this session today in Hilversum. Technically, thank you, Ilya. If you would put on the chat box or in the screen the Peace of Mind YouTube channel. Many people ask, do we have the classes from this year? Do we have the classes from year before? And this, including this particular session, will be recorded and posted, as will the session with Charlie. So you can watch that. So keep this as, I think, quite a valuable resource that we will populate with more and more resources over time. So it might be in the chat box now. Is it, Ilya? I can't see the chat box. I think you've closed it to the rest of us. Let me see. There it is. Link to the Peace of Mind YouTube. Everyone got it? So if you click on that, it'll be in your a nice tab for you to have forevermore bookmarked. So without further ado, the way we'll spend our next time together is I've asked Manda if she'd speak for about 30 minutes. After that, we'll have questions and answers. So if you would like, if there is a question you have, into the chat box, and we'll gather them all up at the end. We don't want to distract Manda from her train of thinking as she's on it now, or maybe write it down for yourself and then put it up as she nears the end and we remind you again. So we'll have some Q&A and then a lovely meditation to end the hour. So how does that sound?
Good.
Great. Thank you for coming, everyone. Really lovely to be together in this way. And so we have with us our beautiful Manda Patel from Sister Manda, who lives in Oxford in the UK, has been the engine and the caretaker and the mother of Global Retreat Center for most of her adult life, and carries on in that role with a team and is incredibly useful all around the world, helping all centers function, especially in the Europe area, and is just a bit of a delight as she travels the world and shares her inspirations authentically and honestly and from the heart. So who doesn't know Sister Manda? Nobody. So there you go. Welcome, Manda.
Really?
Thank you for being with us, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy, for that generous introduction. And hello, everyone. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Probably not all of you are familiar to me, at least. And it's true. I've been kind of, what shall I say, recruited from time to time to the Peace of Mind retreat by Frank and Michael and Joe and Judy. When I'm there, I'm definitely there participating in some way, and it is really a very special thing. And as Judy was saying, from here, from the UK, many have come. Who's here from the UK? Anybody? Ah, Mario. Yeah, okay. You've got Jane. Yeah, you've got a couple of people from the UK. I'm pleased to hear that. This morning, when Charlie was doing his talk, it was at 4 o'clock our time. So after my 4 o'clock meditation, I tuned in for a few minutes and I saw Charlie with people from Australasia as well, which was very nice. So I just thought what might be good is that we just come together. What's lovely is that we're so physically far away from each other, but this medium of Zoom, this medium of social media brings us all together. But it's interesting, amazing how we can all feel together. So I thought it'd be nice to do just a little reflection to be together. And especially those whose cameras are not on, I'd like to say if you're moving around and doing something, maybe sit down for a few moments and just be with us. See this as an excuse, as an opportunity to give yourself a little break, mentally and physically. Multitasking is quite natural these days, but actually you cannot multitask meditation or reflection for that matter. Taking a deep breath, becoming aware of this conscious choice to be here, to be reminded, and perhaps even to be present in the way that opens up the treasure box of profound memories, but a deep knowing that has always been there. Who I am, what I am. I am this pure, loving, conscient, spiritual energy. No matter how much everything else around me seems to be contrary to that, I am this pure, unconditional, spiritual energy. And as I think of myself as this, I take a deep breath and I become aware how my breath softens and slows down. And I become aware of it even more than ever before, that it is the life-giving energy, Pran, the living being that is taking that breath. And I, the soul, the spiritual being, also the living being, conscient, peaceful. And this vibration and this energy permeates the whole of my being, every cell of my body becomes filled with this pure energy. It's almost as if I become one with it. And I find myself profoundly different from everything else that is outside of me. Om Shanti. Our topic of conversation is maintaining inner peace and a generous attitude. And I think it's a very powerful topic. Although I must say, when I was younger, I didn't quite understand the meaning of peace. I used to think of it as a very boring thing to have or to be. And as I started my own spiritual journey, I didn't want to be peaceful. It's too boring. And as time has gone on, I've understood the profound meaning of peace. So as I started to think about it, what is the definition of peace for me nowadays? It's not just absence of sound or peace as in absence of conflict, but peace has started to mean to me that I am in a state of stability. Peace means that I'm in a deeper awareness of my profound truth and that I'm at one with it because I'm living that truth. Peace means that my thoughts, my words, and my actions, they're all aligned with one another. Because when they're not aligned, then I'm at conflict with my own self, let alone anybody else. So this kind of peace is something that we need to cultivate. We need to observe within ourselves. Peace also means wisdom. And that means to do what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and the way that it needs to be done. Peace for me also means clarity. Because when I am clear, then I'm able to be articulate in the way that comforts my heart and the hearts of others. So the meaning of peace has changed a lot for me, and I wonder if there's another profound word that we could come up with that. Probably not. But peace as in maintaining that inner peace. Also, this aspect that came up for me was that it's one thing to be peaceful, to be peace, and to be at peace. Because if you're not at peace with things, you cannot be peace. And when you are not peace, you cannot be peaceful. Because to be peaceful means that I am an image of peace. My thoughts, my words, my actions are radiating that alignment that exists inside of me. But peace can also be an accumulative energy that as I live it, as I experience it, as I live in my interaction with others, then it begins to accumulate inside me. It builds inside of me. And nowadays, I'm more aware than ever before that my contribution to even my spiritual life, the contribution of my spiritual life, is no longer about what I do or how much I do or who do I do it with or when do I do it or where do I do it. But it's really about how am I able to be. Because the way in which I'm able to be in itself is a contribution to the people around me, the situations around me. I think of an image of a pillar that's holding up a building or a construction of some sort. It just stands there. It may not look like it's doing anything, but the building that houses people or keeps people safe or keep people protected is built on that. And so as I become more and more thoughtful about what is the contribution that I want to make to the space and the environment and the people around me, I'm thinking more and more that I need to be at peace, I need to be peace, and I need to be peaceful. And it's this peace is a vibration and an energy that allows everyone else to become the same. It's not possible for this kind of peace to be present and others not to feel it. If not today, then eventually they will feel it and they will also be able to use it in their life. So it's this kind of peace that we're talking about when we're talking about maintaining inner peace. And this peace has to be maintained despite what's happening around me and outside of me, whether it's in terms of people, in terms of situations and circumstances, whether it's even my own mind and my wealth. So I was also seeing what are the elements in my life that are important: my mind, my body, my wealth, my relationships. We want all of these things to be in place, and then we can be peaceful. But we know very well that none of these things, none of these aspects are aspects that we can say, I'll always have, they will always be the way I want them to be, and that I will be okay. You cannot say that. And so one first aspect that I think I have to remember in order to maintain this inner peace is one law. And that law is the law of change. That everything is always changing. Nothing ever remains the same. And yet the reality is that when changes occur around us, we are thrown off guard. And it's this that destabilizes us, whether it's our minds, our emotions, our behaviors, or whatever it might be. So to maintain inner peace, to get to come to a place in which in acceptance of what's happening. When my body changes, whether it's through age or illness or whatever, at that time, knowing when I accept what is, then I can be at peace with it. And when I'm at peace with it, then I can be peaceful. I can be in a state of peace. So, looking after yourself physically, knowing that anything can go happen at any time, looking after the quality of our relationships, and within this particularly, again, we have this thing that everyone should be the way we want them to be, or it's not a conscious thing. It's not a conscious thing where I think everybody should be the way I want them to be. But when people's behaviors are different to ours or create discomfort inside of us, then we lose our own inner peace. And so what I'm learning to practice after a long, long time, even, is that everyone has an incredible contribution to make. And what might not resonate with me about somebody, there's bound to be something that will resonate. And can I focus on what it is that does work for me in that particular individual? And there's always something that's unique and special about each one. And especially when we attract people like ourselves. When you're on a spiritual journey, when you want to make a life that makes a difference in the lives of others, you will attract people like that into your life. And even though they're like that, it's very easy for us to see different other elements than that particular element. So I'm conscious about how to see beyond the surface and really be able to appreciate every aspect of a particular individual. Then I can truly be at peace. And then, of course, I'm speaking about this lastly, but actually this comes first, that within our own selves, how much love do I have? And I'm again, I suppose, equating love and peace together here because one gives birth to the other. You cannot have love if you don't have peace, and you cannot have peace if you don't have love. So their expressions are different, maybe, but they are the beads of the same rosary, as we say in India. And so when I am able to stay in a state of fullness, in a state of love within my own self. And what would be the definition of love? For me, the definition of love is that I accept everything for what it is. I accept everyone for what they are, and therefore maintain my connection of value and appreciation with them. But I first have to be able to do that for my own self. And that in itself is a journey, because we know there are so many other elements that have kind of built up inside that we don't see our own beauty. We don't see our own truth. And so whatever it is that is a discrepancy within one's own self, that expresses itself with other people. And for this, actually, what I like here in the Brahma Kumaris and the practice that we have of meditation and understanding of ourselves is that I'm already that which I want to be. It's not that I'm taking from somewhere or I'm only going to get it in a certain way, but first and foremost, the understanding and the recognition that I am already peace. And it's just that I've forgotten. I'm already love and I've just forgotten. And therefore, I forget to be that and live that. So it's a question of remembering. It's, we only search or we only want to look for what we already know exists and what we've tasted. And so the peace that we want inside ourselves, we know that it's already there. It does exist. It hasn't gone anywhere. We've just forgotten it. And so in part of my meditation, my first belief, my understanding, and my awareness is that I am peace. despite whatever else that might be. And so it gives me a chance to separate myself from all of that and arrive at a state of peace. And this practice, I feel, is essential. Every single day, as many times in the day as possible, that I can do this. I have to do this, because when I do this for my own self, then I can be that for other people. So this maintaining of inner peace is my own personal responsibility. I cannot blame, I cannot point a finger, I cannot make excuses about any of that. And so it's a practice that I must develop. But I'm also aware that it's only when I have this kind of awareness that I can make my attitude generous. And what do we mean by generous here? We definitely don't mean give lots of money to other people, do lots of charity and donations and all that. It's not just a financial generosity, but a generosity of heart and a generosity of spirit. This is something that I learned from some of our seniors. So, when you are with someone and their behavior or their way of being doesn't kind of quite compute with you or doesn't align with you, can you have the generosity of heart to allow them to be who they are and what they are? The generosity also comes actually when you have true peace within your own self, by knowing your own beauty and your own truth. Then there is the birth of compassion. Then there is the birth of kindness. Then there is the birth of this awareness of wanting to share the same that you have inside yourself with others. And that we know that in that sharing, it's not something that happens overnight. So for me, generosity also means having patience to allow someone else, allow the other person to come to a place of acceptance about their own beauty and their own truth. Generosity of spirit, of attitude is whereby, there is so much happening in our world today. So much is happening, and all of it, all of us, I'm sure, are kind of feeling quite sad about. And I don't mean sad in a suffering place, from a suffering place, but more the awareness, is this so necessary? Is this so, is this, does this have to be like this? Where does that come from? That comes from that place that actually none of us need to be like this. But when people are behaving in the way that they are behaving, clearly it's their own emptiness inside of them that makes them behave in the way that they do. So is it possible for me to have the generosity of heart and love and acceptance in such a way that I can play the role of being a bridge between what is and what could be? And the only way I can be a bridge between those two is where I am unshaken, I'm unaffected, I'm in a total state of equilibrium, or I'm in a total state of stability within my own self, that I can be the bridge between what's going on and what we want to occur in our world. And I must never underestimate the power of that. I can't possibly underestimate the power of this role of a bridge between these two worlds. And whatever is happening, it's happening to teach us something. It's happening to show us where we've come from and where we have to go, individually, personally, and collectively. So my own sense is that as we begin to build our own inner strength, and I'm seeing inner peace as inner strength, I'm seeing it as stability, I'm seeing it as consistency of my own contribution, that it's possible for me to to be generous with those who I might find easy to accuse or blame with what's happening around. Forgiveness plays a very powerful role in that generosity, in that, you know, ultimately, actually, when there is something that's happening that's destabilizing, forgiveness for that person, but forgiveness within my own self allows me to again reduce the effect of negativity that is so prevalent around us. And we're able to create that vibration and that energy so that we can bring stability for others also. So my sense is that this is the time for us to really build that inner strength and stability inside ourselves so that we can naturally offer compassion in a world of pain and so much suffering. So I'll stop here, maybe just to allow any thoughts or comments that you might have as well.
Marcus, thank you, Manda. I've got a couple of questions for you. Mark is asking just quickly, though, if you would say, what do you mean by wealth? So when you say share your, well, what did you mean by that? And I'm
I
thinking,
mean,
Mark, you're
just
trying to
finance. I just mean financial.
create
We
finance. Yeah.
all need, we need money to survive. We need,
Hmm.
food. We need to pay for our bills. So all of that. So whether it's
Hmm.
your job, whether it's your enterprise, you cannot say that it's always going to be as it is. And that can be destabilizing for me. And so what is my relationship with that, so that when I have I can use, when I don't have, can I reduce my needs so that I can maintain my internal peace, I can
Hmm.
maintain my inner peace and stability. That's what I mean.
Do you know, I really liked Manda. Thank you for the catalyst for thinking in this direction and the good energy you're bringing to it. I'm really struck by, being peaceful, but being at peace. Very nice addition there. And I'm wondering, because that's a bit of a lifelong journey, being at peace with, I'm thinking my life, okay, that's one thing, but myself, being at peace with myself. Um, and what I've got happening inside of me for all the good, the bad, and the ugly in there. So tell us a little bit, how have you wandered this journey to find a place? Where are you at in relation to being at peace with the self?
So one of this is a great question anyway for all of us, and it's a journey. I've been doing this for more than 44 years now, and yet I can still feel that I have to work with that within my own self. And it's, recently I had to speak about authenticity, and I suppose I realized that owning the whole of you is an important thing. Owning that there are
Oh, oh, did
our
I just lose
meditation.
man,
No, I
or did
think
everyone lose Brenda?
I lost you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did I
Sorry,
lose you?
rewind just a little bit and say that
Rewind a
again.
little bit. I
Yeah.
was saying that I myself, having been on a journey of this for 44 years, I am still working with this, absolutely no question. And that I recently had to speak about authenticity, I think that topic was. And I realized how one has, in order to be true to your own self, you have to accept all aspects of yourself, all the warts and all the spiky bits and everything else that's there. It's only when you own it that you can do something about it. It's like, okay, I'm frustrated and I can get angry and I can say things that I don't really mean. But actually, what helps me with my practice is every single day, morning and night and in the day, to remind myself that actually, ultimately, I am peace. and ultimately that human spirit is goodness. I am that, and that there is so much good that I have to offer and so much contribution that I can make and I do make. Let me give value to that and know that it's like, I suppose, the example that I do like is that if you have something sitting around and you don't use it, it disintegrates. And it's
Mm,
like seeing that if there is a negative tendency, if I can uh, catch it and try not to make use of it. And the only time make use of it is when I'm frustrated, when I'm unhappy, and I'm
mhm,
feeling like I'm not doing my best, and that's when I start to resort to that. So appreciation, gratitude, and value of your own self, building that by doing useful things, by supporting others, um, by helping others. I'm beginning to see the difference that I can make in the lives of other people. I feel that that's such an important thing. And as I said, my practice of meditation, my connection with God, the one being that never sees me in anything else but my full glory and my full beauty and for my full truth. And that's the vision that I want to keep bringing to myself again and again, and so that it's that vision that informs my way of being than anything else. And so that's an ongoing process, ongoing journey that never stops, really.
mhm. Any breakthroughs in that journey? Moments, um, moments where you have seen past the veil of whatever current weakness we're living within.
The last year has been a very, very interesting year for me, and I feel that there's been big shifts in my own mind about my own self. And actually, the odd way in which it happened was more with my ill health and the body issues and so on. And I had a problem with my leg, and I was avoiding doing anything about it, as in physically surgery, because everybody says, don't have surgery, it's not good for you. Once you have a cut, that's not bad for you. So I was doing diet, I was doing exercises, I was doing healing, I was doing everything you could can, but it just wasn't shifting. It was getting worse. And so I got to a point where I said, no, I've got to go for surgery. So I went for surgery, and it was like such a breeze. It was incredibly easy. And in that process, my whole relationship with trust changed. Trust in
Hmm.
myself, trust in my life, trust in my relationship with God. Everything changed, and I feel that something lifted. And then I had a fractured wrist and I had a hand surgery, but all of that, in the moment it felt hard, but actually the moment I did something about it, something shifted. And I feel like there's been
Mm.
a huge um, lightness that's occurred in this process of this.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
maintaining inner peace while all of these things are going on, that's why body aspect is also a very important thing. So, knowing that these things will come, but am I panicking? Am I frustrated? I didn't allow myself to get. Once I made the decision to go for surgery, I said, whatever. Really, I didn't give
Hmm.
it a single extra thought,
Mm.
and everything just happened. And I feel that that's the inner peace. So, inner peace, as in not just this quiet of the mind, but this whole of your being, it is at ease, is in comfort, and is a state
Yeah,
of content and satisfaction, if you like.
yeah,
So, that's for me real peace. Real description of peace is where all of this comes together.
yeah. And it's interesting that that would happen instead of you tackling or trying to change any kind of habit, like trying to control things or whatever. Instead, you just somehow naturally feel more trusting.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Isn't that interesting? You can't plan for that. You couldn't have
You
planned for that. It just
No,
happened to you.
exactly.
And
It's
yet the soul wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, years ago when I had COVID, I mean, they said I was going to die, but I didn't feel like that I was going to die. But I remember even then thinking, just breathe. And perhaps it's my quality that when something happens and I need to let go, I surrender.
Hmm.
Surrender. And surrender as in accept what is,
Yeah.
and there's a wash of peace, a wash of acceptance, a wash of trust that comes over, that allows you to breathe more deeply, allows you to be more quiet, allows you to be more at one with your own self and the situation around you.
I guess trusting life is one aspect that it will carry you to these moments. And it would be nice if we didn't have to be up against the wall before we surrendered. You know,
Absolutely. 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 But
and
you
yet
know what?
I look,
But you
go
know
ahead.
what? I've also again come to realize that, and funnily enough, I was
Yeah.
just thinking about it last night in the sense that when something happens, instead of kind of panicking about it or think, oh my God, what's happening inside me? I kind of
Mhm.
go, okay, this is happening. This has occurred. Okay, can I just be with it and allow it to pass? And
Mhm.
funnily enough, it passes. Sometimes there's no reason for something to come. We try to start digging into something that doesn't need digging into. It's just like a breeze that's come and it passes and goes by. And can I
Mhm.
just see it like that?
Well, I suppose if we're responsible people, we would feel we'd be negligent to not be jumping in and trying to fix it or sort it,
But
instead of learning that there's another form of negligence to my own peace
yeah,
by getting
exactly.
over involved in things,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
This
nice
over
switch.
involvement. Yeah.
I have one more question for you, and I think there's some going to come in on the chat now. But one of them is, how have you? Give. So we commit to peace, and we all want this. That's why we're here. Do you find it's more challenging now as world events intensify? I'm
Mm,
hearing people say, even good yogis that have been studying and meditating for a long time saying, "I'm so distracted when I sit down."
mm, mm.
What's your experience, and what's your wisdom or observation of this?
Yeah, I my tendency has never been that if something's not working inside me, it's because of something else outside of me. That's never been my tendency. That if something here is not working, it's because
World events.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
you
of
don't
the
think that way.
energy. I don't perceive it that way. But I'm learning to do that a
Mm.
little bit because in doing so as well, I'm kinder to myself.
Aha.
In
Okay.
trying to see that okay, actually there might be things out there that are beyond my control, so hang on a minute,
Yeah.
just be kind to yourself that that is there, but you just focus on
Hmm.
what you have to do. And I feel that that's all I can do. Seeing that things outside are not working or not working, and I'm affected by that, that means I'm allowing myself to be a victim of that. And I don't
Yeah.
want to allow myself to be a victim of those external situations, even if they might be powerful enough to influence me. But can I keep just, turning up the volume of my mindset and attitude so that if there is a distraction, then I don't buy into it. I don't give it power, that I keep coming
Hmm.
back to holding my own power. For me, that's important.
Are you, but there are internal distractions that have nothing to do with the world outside.
Right.
And many people are saying that's intensifying right now, and that not every meditation is a beautiful
Yeah,
experience. It can
yeah,
be distractible. And
yes,
what would
yes.
you say to that?
Yeah, I can say to that. The other day we had an interesting conversation. It was a group of people from all over Europe, in fact, and it was about egolessness. And so the question that was asked to the whole group was
Oh,
that,
we lost your sound. At
oops,
least I did.
are you there?
You have the sound. I
I
don't.
have. I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Other people can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can
okay.
hear you,
Now they
Manda.
can.
Okay, I'm
Yes,
here.
go ahead.
So I was going to say, so the topic was egolessness, and we were asked, what is it that's triggering your ego right now?
Mm.
And so I kind of I sat and listened to people say all sorts of things, and I thought to myself, I'm feeling really tired these days, physically very tired these days. And so then I thought, is there a relationship to ego with that? And I remembered Daddy Janki many years ago saying, tiredness is also ego.
Mhm.
And I remembered the other way around. When I realized that I'm tired, I realized that she was saying this. So um, there was a connection with your question. I've forgotten what the connection was now, but
Internal distractions
the
that come.
that's it, the internal distraction. So for me, the internal distraction, if any, is trying to now figure out this ego that's keeping me tired, that stops me from meditating in the way that I'd like to, or as much as I'd like to meditate. And so, yeah, there is that, but it is you have to face it. You have to go inside your own self, find what it is, and overcome it. What can you say? So that's my conquest at the moment, that how can I learn?
Lovely.
And what she was saying was, I suppose what she was saying is the way in which you do what you do that causes tiredness. It's
Right.
not what you do and how much you do that causes
Yeah,
tiredness. The tiredness
the
is
way.
from how you do it, the way you do it. So that I feel for me is a distraction at the moment, if any. And so I'm really learning to, I think I'm improving, because in the evenings when I used to meditate, because I get up at 4 o'clock, quarter to four, and then I go pretty much the whole day. And so, in a sense, it's understandable that if you've been going since 4 o'clock in the morning and to try and meditate at 7 o'clock, then it's hard. So if I can, I try and get 20 minutes. Literally, it's only 20 minutes. And that helps me a lot. So I find ways in which to energize myself in such a way so that 7 o'clock in the evening, when I try to do my evening meditation, I'm not kind of, you know,
Sleepy.
distracted or feeling a little bit dopey, let's say.
That's wonderful. That's really great. Thank you so much. Okay, we've got Debbie saying, I love the deeper understanding of peace, acceptance, trust, stability, strength, and the addition of love and generosity. So, lovely addition. And Heike's asking, Dear Amanda, could you say something to the issue of having and intensifying the relationship with God or Baba?
Right, right. For me, that's a very important relationship now, and it's the one that I work on. And what can I say except that to remember that that's the one relationship that's with me throughout time. It's the one eternal relationship with this soul and that soul as it is. Everyone else's relationship with me has changed over a period of time, this life, many lives. But God, the divine, the supreme Baba, is exactly the way he, she is and always has been, nothing but that. I've been
Mm.
different in different existences, if you like, but that one has never been any different. And so, for me to open my eyes to that relationship, that eternal relationship, has always been there. It's me getting out of the way, the things that are causing a hindrance between myself and God, and that actually I think that relationship with God is so much more simpler than we make it out to be. We make it out to be a complicated relationship, but yet God, the one who is unconditionally loving, the one who is always there, consistent, always available, how often can I turn my mind to that pure, unconditional energy that's just there, just there, wherever you want it to be. And it's really about me turning my mind, turning my heart towards that one so that I can experience the presence of that one in a very living way at all times. It is really there at all times. If it was a human being, they'd be there 1 minute, they won't be there another minute, or they're fabricated in my mind. But this one is just a second away. And how much do I turn my mind and my heart towards that pure, loving, unconditional energy?
Mm,
And
mm,
so, yeah,
mm,
it's I know that there's nothing but that, and that the power of that relationship allows me to be so humble. There is nothing I can do. Whatever I can do, whatever I do, I can only do because of that one. Whatever I want to be, I want to be, can only be because of my relationship with that one. Or the other way, the other day actually in our Murli readings, what we learned was, well, something that was said was that God is the one who is responsible for you, for responsible for changing your personality, the negative personality, the tendencies that you have that you want to change. I can change them for you. Let me do it. Let me do it. And I think I've got to make it happen. I've got to do this. I've got to start breaking this mountain down with a little hammer. Whereas he's saying, I'm going to do it for you. Just let me do it. And so I, or again, have to surrender. Surrender and say, okay, you do it. I'm letting you do it. And I'm going to do what you tell me to do.
mm, mm. Another level of trust, isn't it?
Another level of
Accepting
trust.
trust. It's beautiful, Manda. Very nice. Thank you for that. I'm looking at the clock and I'm aware that we're getting close and we want to do a little meditation with you, but let me just check in with the group. How is this for you? Are you enjoying this? Yes, very much, isn't it? Yes, I think we should do this again. What do you think?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. If I think we might have, I don't know if we even have time for one more question, but certainly any observations, put them in the chat box. And after the meditation, we will be able to look at those and anything you wanted to say to Manda. I notice there's a couple comments here. Feel free to do that. That would be very nice. We'll just give everyone a moment if you would like to do that. And then Manda will ask you to take us into a little meditation to end our time together. So we just hold the silence for a minute or two, and then Manda, you'd be able to read all these comments as well that are coming in rather than it being as we're walking out the door, you know? So let's do it again,
Thank
says
you,
Jane. All right,
Jane.
Jane,
Okay.
we'll be in, we'll do it again. Yeah, and feel free for any topics that are of interest. I mean, even just a spiritual chit chat and a spiritual cheerleading, you know, go team is is valuable for all of us. Okay, Manda, thanks. Let's go into a meditation then.
Okay, Om Shanti. Maybe at this point it's useful to just reminisce or perhaps reflect on what you had experienced when you were in Mount Abu.
Hmm.
Actually, I'll interrupt for a moment. Yesterday, I met someone who said she was in India last year and she had this most incredible experience of just being completely present, and that she felt so much light and so much love from everyone around. She wasn't a spiritual person. She wasn't a spiritual on a spiritual journey either, but she felt the love present in that land. She felt the generosity of that land, the easiness a sense of being touched beyond knowing, in a sense, even, where your heart opens and lifts. But how is it that we can learn to create that for ourselves wherever we are, in our places, in our lives, in our homes, with our relationships? So many people have nothing, own nothing, and therefore they're simply able to be free and be. In fact, I, the spiritual being, the being of light, own nothing. Nothing belongs to me. I own nothing, and nothing owns me. Not even this body belongs to me, because it came from dust and it turns into dust. Yet I always exist. Just consider that notion for a moment. I, the soul, the living being, the conscient, thinking, profound energy of peace, of love. I always exist, and I always emanate just that: love, light, and peace. I can do this even whilst I'm in the body. The way in which I see things, the way in which I perceive things, the way in which I relate to things. Let me be light. Let me be peaceful. Let me be loving. Let me trust God. Let me trust my life in the hands of God, so that my life becomes a life that offers support and peace to everyone. At this time, life is only for sharing and for giving, because the world needs a lot. Not physical, but spiritual. Let me take from God for myself, but also for others. And it's this richness of mindset and attitude that helps me and calms down the fire of anger, fire of pain and sorrow and suffering. Let me be that little spark of peace. Om Shanti.